Introduction. The Soviet-Afghan War, spanning from 1979 to 1989, was a pivotal conflict that had far-reaching consequences for Afghanistan, the region, and the world. During this period, the Soviet Union intervened in Afghanistan to support the communist government, triggering a fierce resistance from Afghan rebels known as the Mujahideen. The aftermath of this war laid the groundwork for the emergence of the Taliban, a radical Islamist group that would shape the course of Afghanistan's history and influence global politics for decades to come. The Soviet invasion and the Mujahideen resistance. In December 1979, the Soviet Union, under the leadership of General Secretary Leonid Brezhnev, invaded Afghanistan with the intention of propping up the communist regime in Kabul. The Soviet intervention was met with strong opposition from various factions of Afghan rebels who sought to defend their country's sovereignty and Islamic identity. The Mujahideen, a term referring to those who engage in jihad, holy struggle, became the primary force of resistance against the Soviet occupation. The Mujahideen were a diverse coalition of tribal fighters, religious fundamentalists, and political dissidents, united in their opposition to the Soviet forces. International involvement and support. The Soviet-Afghan War quickly evolved into a proxy conflict, drawing the attention of global superpowers. The United States, in particular, viewed the Soviet intervention as an opportunity to challenge the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War. The U.S., under President Jimmy Carter and later Ronald Reagan, provided significant support to the Mujahideen. The CIA, in collaboration with Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI), orchestrated the covert operation to funnel arms, funding, and training to the Mujahideen fighters. This support was aimed at countering the Soviet influence in Afghanistan and, indirectly, weakening the Soviet Union itself. Additionally, Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states played a crucial role in funding the Mujahideen's resistance. Private donors from these countries contributed substantial financial resources, further fueling the insurgency against the Soviet forces. Impact on Afghanistan and the rise of the Taliban. The decade-long Soviet-Afghan War had devastating consequences for Afghanistan. The country faced widespread destruction of infrastructure, loss of life, and a massive refugee crisis. Despite the immense human and economic costs, the Mujahideen succeeded in forcing the Soviet Union to withdraw its troops from Afghanistan in 1989. However, the withdrawal left a political vacuum, leading to a power struggle among various Mujahideen factions vying for control of the country. Amidst the chaos, the Taliban emerged as a formidable force in the early 1990s. The Taliban, which translates to students in Pashto, comprised young religious students who were educated in conservative Islamic madrasas primarily in Pakistan. Many of these students were products of the Afghan refugee camps that had been established during the Soviet occupation. Under the leadership of Mullah Muhammad Omar, the Taliban sought to establish a strict interpretation of Islamic law and bring stability to war-torn Afghanistan. Rise to power and ideology. By 1994, the Taliban had gained significant traction and began capturing key cities in Afghanistan. Their swift territorial expansion was fueled by the growing discontent with the corrupt and factionalized Mujahideen warlords who had controlled the country after the Soviet withdrawal. The Taliban's ideology was rooted in Deobandi Islam, a conservative religious movement originating from the Indian subcontinent. They sought to implement their interpretation of Sharia law, imposing strict social and religious codes that severely restricted the rights of women and religious minorities. The Taliban's reign in Afghanistan was marked by brutal suppression of dissent, mass executions, and a disregard for human rights. Their association with Al-Qaeda and their harboring of Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, ultimately led to their downfall in the face of a US-led invasion in 2001. Conclusion. The Soviet-Afghan War and its aftermath played a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory of Afghanistan's history and the rise of the Taliban. The conflict was not only a battle for Afghanistan's sovereignty but also a proxy war between the world's superpowers, with dire consequences for the Afghan people. The Taliban's emergence as a dominant force in the 1990s was a direct consequence of the power vacuum created after the Soviet withdrawal, and their extremist ideology had a lasting impact on Afghanistan and the global community. Understanding this historical context is crucial for comprehending the complexities of Afghanistan's current political landscape and the challenges it continues to face in the pursuit of peace and stability. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my channel, please hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment to support me.